Hey, hello everyone. My name is Ed Coronado. I am a principal data solution architect at Wavicle Data Solutions out of Chicago. We are about a 500 person data and analytics consultancy firm, as I said, based out of Chicago. I personally have been doing this type of work in the data space probably now for the better side of 25 years. And in that 25 years, I've seen a lot of things like you have everything from soup nuts to bolts. Got a lot of experience in data architecture, engineering, consulting, cloud computing, business intelligence, analytics, data governance, and data catalog to add to that. And really, what I do is I advise companies on how to plan and execute and operationalize their digital transformation, either to go from on premise to cloud, or to improve cloud, or to go from cloud to cloud, or jump into federated data and all the cool things that are available in that. And at the end of the day, what I really want to do is I want to leverage my skills and the skills of our company and what we bring to the table to really help our clients derive business value from their investments in data and analytics. And this brings me to Matillion, which I think is probably one of the top three tools I've ever seen in my career. I initially came to Matillion back around 2016 when I was working for another firm, building a massive data warehouse for a manufacturing, repairs, and operations company out of Chicago. And as a single person on this data team, I requested for a POC on Matillion, was granted it, and within a matter of a day, I had built out a working model of how we could unify data using Matillion from about four different sources. So in under a period of 48 hours, I got a green thumbs up to say, go ahead, run with it. And over the course of 6 months, I was able to build the first version of a data warehouse, the second version a year later. And ultimately, when I left, we were already in our third version when I left about a year and a half later. I should note that this company tried 5 times to build a data warehouse prior to using Matillion. So Matillion just makes your work so much easier to implement a solution on the data warehousing side and so many other features that they now have added. So today I do want to talk to you about a specific use case with our client. Our client, who I won't mention by name, but we do have a blog and a use case study up on our website for it, is a client that's in the customized fleet management and fleet leasing solution space. They've been in this business for 60 plus years. And what they bring to market is they offer solutions to mid-sized companies, to government, educational institutions, and other companies to really manage their fleet management and or lease fleets to them. They've been a client of ours for several years. And about a year and a half ago, they began their journey with Matillion. And the way this came about is we were both at a conference in June of 2022. I met with our client. They had heard about Matillion. I walked them over to the Matillion booth, and I happened to be doing a presentation at that booth the next day, which they attended, sparked their interest in Matillion in this low code, no code space where they really wanted to go. And the use case challenge, what they had here was due to their massive growth, the company needed to scale operations to keep up with the high demand and overcome supply chain challenges at the time. They wanted to leverage their massive data set to maintain their competitive edge in the market. They wanted to demonstrate strong financial standing to their investors and their internal teams. They also wanted to meet compliance with strict regulatory standards in their industry. They wanted to streamline their data infrastructure and standardize pipelines and reporting to have faster insights and to derive true value from their data. They wanted to migrate from their SQL Server SSIS reporting landscape that they had over to Power BI for more flexibility and scalability, and to provide their end users access to their data. And lastly, this all led to them taking a step towards a modern data environment to continue their growth. So I'm going to walk through a couple of slides here, really to highlight the pre-Matillion integration phase, leading on to 3 additional phases downstream to end up where they're at today. So in the initial phase, this is the pre-Matillion integration architecture illustration. As this illustration will show us, They currently have their infrastructure on Azure, and they're trying to land data inside of Snowflake. And really, the key sources that they were bringing in data into Snowflake were from SQL Server databases, some API connected data sources, Salesforce solution data, and they had some raw CSV files that they're creating. All this data was being ingested by another ETL tool and landing data in Snowflake. And initially, the process did work until the volume of data scaled up incrementally. At that point in time, the ETL tool that they had in place was constantly tripping over itself, was severing connections to any of these sources, and thereby delivering half data, incomplete data. Sometimes it worked correctly, sometimes it didn't. So at this point, they were faced with several challenges. Number one, their users were losing trust and confidence in the data because data was incomplete. They weren't able to generate standardized reporting across the company landscape. So at that point in time, that's when I met with them regarding Matillion, and they were able to start their journey. And their journey to migrate to Matillion from their existing or the prior ETL tool started sometime around February, March of this year. So in the first phase of this Matillion integration that we participated in with our client, we had 2 developers on our team that went through the existing jobs that were running by this in SQL Server to actually land data. So what we did with Matillion is we connected to this database, exported data, landed it, number one, in Snowflake while applying transformations, and secondly, landing other data sources into the Azure Blob Storage area and creating additional jobs to take that data to create and load tables on the fly in Snowflake. This was all relatively easy to do and was captured and completed in a short period of time. It was so well received by our client that they gave us a green light to go ahead and begin to build the second phase of the integration with Matillion. As you can see on the bottom here, we've got a couple of boxes and tabs here that are really pointing to cloud independence, multi-cluster rights, organizational structures, security and regulatory compliance, enterprise governance, and operations management. So by us introducing and doing the initial integration of Matillion into their landscape, the company could now see that these bottom items down here were now something that was achievable and something that was further down their roadmap. So in the second phase, once we landed all this data in Snowflake, we were able to use Matillion to begin to provide and create specific data marts within their data warehouse to support all these different uses for their data scientists, for the reporting and analytics tools, for their internal applications, and for their external integrations. All the while maintaining at the same time while our developers were working on the integrations, we were also having their development team ride shotgun with us on these integrations so that they could begin to learn how to develop inside of Matillion. And with some minimal training to their development team, they were able to pick up quickly how easily Matillion is able to drag and drop different pieces, connect different sources, actually literally take copy and paste existing SQL code and drop it into a box and run the SQL code and then see results instantaneously. That was really when the light bulb went off and I said, wow, we can really speed up and spur our development simply by using a different tool. So over the course of the next couple of months, we migrated several of their jobs in their databases, including stored procedures that they had in place in SQL Server were now landing inside of Matillion. Auditing jobs that they had in the past that were running in SQL Server were also migrated over to Snowflake. And lastly, they were able to do data validation back to their sources, which was prior to this was really challenging and difficult for the client to do. all the while maintaining the same small core team that they had in place. And our last phase here of integration was where we really began to leverage the power of Matillion to help and do other things. For example, as I mentioned in the prior slide, we were able to automate stored procedures, something that in the past, when it was running on their SQL Server instance, was failing on an irregular basis. So they couldn't really pick up where they left off. Sometimes they would have to pull in tables entirely again to be able to begin their data transformation into Snowflake. With Matillion, all that went away. They were able to continue to bring in their data, apply CDC on top of the data so that they could improve the speed at which they had access to their data. And I think the big piece that came here is we were able to introduce not just auditing, a higher level of auditing, we were able to improve their notifications and alerts. So within Matillion, we were able to use the tools to be able to kick off auditing alerts, notification alerts, and other issues within the systems to the end users based on whether a job completed or failed. At the same time, we were able to take those notices, land them into a separate table in Snowflake to actually begin to report data at the KPI level to senior leadership. So now senior leadership is able to look at a screen and look at these KPIs and metrics and really get a sense of what's going on in the background in their data landscape, which prior to the integration of Matillion was maybe a dream, kind of a pipe dream. Well, now it's reality. Now they have KPIs that they can lead to, not only to their completion of their jobs, but also how effective are our users using this data. Now they're able to look downstream and really look at the next level of where they want to go with their data. With Snowflake now, they're able to take, through Matillion, they're able to spin up or spin down some of the sizes of their instances to meet demand or to meet whatever use cases they may have at their need. They're also able to create copies of data very quickly for their data scientists to be able to run and train models on the data. And lastly, they're also able to deliver data downstream to other consumers, which prior to this was more of a manual process at the client site. They're at the point now where they're beginning to think about the data they're landing in Snowflake as in deliverable data products. So they're actually going to the next phase with the use of Matillion here. It's become such a popular and successful tool at our client that they are now going to plan the decommissioning of that prior ETL tool now, which is Matillion does this very, very well above all other integration tools. It's easy to use, easy to fit into your environment. One of the earlier concerns our client had was they did not have any Linux knowledge in-house to be able to support the instance of Matillion. After walking them through the setup and having the Matillion support team help them not just only install the instance, but also upgrade the instance, they've become more comfortable with Linux and have now adopted it a little bit more into their environment. So all this was able to be accomplished in about the period of about 6 months. It has been very well received, very successful. They are now looking at adding in additional data sources into Snowflake by simply leveraging the power of Matillion and all the very cool features that are being brought out now. So thanks for your time today to be able to talk to you about our client use case, our use of Matillion, and why we think our partnership with Matillion is extremely important and valuable to us. If you'd like to learn more about how we were able to help this particular client, please do get in touch with me. I'd be more than happy to sit down and chat some more with you. But thanks again, Matillion, for the opportunity. I appreciate it. I look forward to our continued partnership.